All right. So, first of all, hi everyone. This is Hamid Khan, and I've been doing SEO since 2015, and I've been recently I've got course and helping clients with topical authority, and I've also started my YouTube channel. And today, I have very uh, can say a very interesting and intelligent guest sitting in front of me.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, definitely. And today we're gonna discuss. First of all, let me clear the topic. It's not. I mean, we're gonna not cover a specific in depth into very concept like semantics, topical authority, but it will be like more top level understanding of how this person is managing everything stuff and being in the industry. And let me reveal his name. His name is Karl Hudson. So first of all, thank you, brother, for joining me. And it's it's quite interesting chatting on with you on some interesting topic. And I've been following you like I've been following Karl for a like long time and watching his podcast. And it's very influential guy when it comes to business and running multi-type business models like affiliate, drop shipping, if I'm not wrong, and some more local business. So definitely we're gonna go deep into bunch of stuff. So I hope it will be like very good conversation. So before starting, I mean, I would like to hand over to Karl, and I would like to ask to introduce himself, his overall experience, and how he started, from where he started, and his main strengths and everything. Karl, up to you.
All right. Thanks for the intro. So my background's a quite humble beginning. So my parents were, they were self-employed. Originally, my father was in the Air Force, and my mother she owned a hair salon. And then my father came out there for this was many years ago. Came out the Air Force and started doing many different things. He's had his hands in many different pies, and then it ended up his main interest was like life coaching, NLP, hypnotherapy, that sort of stuff. So at that time, I was quite young and I quite enjoyed gaming. So I used to play, Counter-Strike 1.6, Source, Global Offensive, World of Warcraft ended up becoming quite a big hobby and pastime of mine. And basically my dad said, oh, well, you're quite good with, as everyone who's older assumes, if you're on the computer, you must be quite good at computers. That was like what my dad used to say. You're quite good at computers. Can you sort a website out? So at that time, I hadn't really had much experience with that. Went into that area, sort of started learning a little bit on different forums about SEO, things like this. And then it kind of snowballed from there. Fast forward about 18, 19-year-old, I got into like the dating sort of pickup artistry sort of niche, and that became very lucrative for us. And fast forward again, we then ended up getting involved, or I got involved in a like white label casino. So as a casino operator. So we weren't the affiliates, we were the actual casino themselves, and we launched, I believe at the time of me exiting, around 46 online casinos, and that business did very well. And now I own a link building agency. I own a backlink disavow. So Searcher is the link building agency, Backlink Doctor is the disavow agency, where we focus more on like manual actions and penalties and removing those. And then I've also got a few local businesses and some lead gen stuff with my business partner, James Dooley. So that's kind of what, in a nutshell, that's what I'm running. Yeah.
Amazing. So how you manage all this together? I mean, do you have like a team? As we mentioned, you've been partnered with James Dooley. So, yeah. I mean, how do you manage all this together, and what are your like top priorities or something like that?
So I try to, like, at the start of each week, make a bit of a priority list where, it's like a Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And obviously the lower down the list is, it's kind of like, so Q1 is it needs fixed now. Q2 is, it could do with my attention this week. Q3 is probably if I have spare time visit it. In Q4 is kind of like, it's probably not that important, but get it done at some point. So that's kind of how I prioritize the list. And then obviously you're going to have like firefighting, what I like to call, where, you know, things just crop up and you have to deal with it. So obviously there's a lot of that does happen with being involved in many businesses. There's a lot of that happens, which obviously that like distracts your time a little bit, but just trying to keep on top of it. Usually I've always got like a notepad and pen next to us, which I kind of map out what I'm doing on that day as part of the sort of Q1s. And then just not being too hard on yourself if you didn't manage to achieve it. I do try to obviously outsource, so like day-to-day tasks, you know, although I do enjoy doing the SEO element, and that has been obviously bread and butter for a very, very, very long time, I actually try to just focus more on top level and create the SOPs for my team to actually be able to do the SEO element. And then I'm just kind of box ticking like, yes, that's done, that's done. And that allows me to obviously, I think the Filipino team that I tend to use a lot of Filipinos, and I've used them for many, many years. My right-hand man, Mav, he's excellent. And we tend to work together on a day-by-day basis. And we have now, I believe, 5 in that office that work with us. That's primarily just around like all of the different, so they might dive into a little bit on Searcheroo, they might dive into other elements, just focusing more on SEO elements. Then Searcheroo has its own team, I think, of about 15, and then we've got around 10 different sort of testers who are like testing different ideas in sort of website algorithm tweaks, and then testing different various SEO ideas that might work. And that's kind of it in terms of management. Beyond that, so managing the team's time and things, we have managers who do that bit. So I'm not the best at asking that, because I speak to the managers and they speak to them 9 times out of 10. But usually they use Trello, and it's very much just a task list on Trello where, you know, doing, done, and just they assign it to each sort of team member has their own task list to do, and they're just assigned tasks. That's kind of how that is managed. And that's pretty much it. It's not, I would say I'm definitely a lot more time aware nowadays, because having a lot of projects and businesses, it does eat a lot of time. There's times where I might go to I quite enjoy the gym, times I might go to the gym and I haven't actually my head's not in the gym, it's on the task that I was doing. So then it just becomes a pointless exercise being in the gym, really. There's actually been times where I've pulled up at the gym and didn't go in. I ended up going home because I had to clear my head on the tasks. So that's not good. That is not a good trait to do, but yeah.
That's funny and amazing as well. I can relate this as well. I mean, the stuff you're saying, I mean, it's incredible. And by the way, you're running like multiple types and kinds of businesses, and but specifically in SEO, what is your main strength, basically?
Within SEO, was that?
Yeah, within SEO.
So I would say within SEO, my main strength would be link building's obviously quite a high one in there, but I'm quite good at like more of the technical SEO. So looking at like the crawl logs, finding out how the crawler's interacting with the website, seeing if we can work with a developer and speed up the website or restrict certain elements of the website to try and fix crawl budget issues, stuff like that. And then I've also built an SOP based off, I know we'll probably go into this later, but the Core Raise framework for creating topical maps and things like this. And I actually had it approved by Corey, which was quite good. He said it was a really good topical map. So that was almost like, oh, that's excellent, because it was actually I created the process, then the team actually now do it themselves, which is pretty cool. Don't get us wrong, it could probably be more refined, and I'm always looking for ways of obviously improving. I think that's the whole role of SEO and semantics anyway. There's always ways of improving and making things better. So it's definitely not perfect by any means, but it's a hell of a lot more than what I probably had 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
My main strength basically is before, 2021 or after the Koi course launched, my main strength was basically content marketing. I've worked with like SaaS brands, and you can say my journey is kind of diverse. Work with agencies, work with tools, in-house tools as well, SaaS companies as well, and local SEO projects, e-com as well, on consultancy stuff as well. So basically, but after Kore's course, my main strength and only strength now is you can say topical authority. But still, it's not. Yet what I think it should be like. But it's like growing and I'm improving, and that's why we are here and chatting about stuff
Yeah.
related to topical authority and overall business growth. It's not basically about uh, specific discipline. It's about overall growing a business or website, for example, like, or you can say changing the mindset or how to change the perception, for example,
Yeah.
which mostly people, lack, for example. So I just wanted to bring those things up in front of those people who are struggling managing the stuff what you have like gone through and managed successfully. So basically, how many sites you have right now and running currently?
Well, that's a question. How many in total? What, including business partners' websites as well? We're probably at like, I would say 2,000, 2,500 websites, give or take. Obviously, a lot of our strategies come in on like more EMD style websites. So there's a lot of EMD domains that we have, and we're often renewing. But yeah, I would probably say around about 2,000, give or take, websites that we're working on or have set up and run and manage. They're not all necessarily being worked on at the same time, obviously, because there's too many websites. So we tend to prioritize and then make a few tweaks to one. We've maybe got it set up in a rank tracker or something and then monitor it that way. And then obviously when we come back to revisit the website, we go into the search console data and say, has it gained impressions? Can we do something to help it improve impression count? And then wait again. And that kind of becomes the cycle. So we just keep on revisiting every few months, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, revisit, make a tweak, wait a month or two, revisit, make a tweak, wait a month or two. And that's kind of how we kind of process them, because otherwise I think in terms of team size, we would need far too big a team. And in terms of link building, we would need far too many links to be building, for 2,000 websites.
I'm just thinking and multiplying the stuff. Like for one website, there could be like minimum 5% required for a proper SEO, or you can say marketing. SEO is just a channel, by the way. Without some websites, you maybe go with paid ad first. For some website, you maybe go for any social strategy.
Yeah.
So it's the important perception. I think I would like to ask you as well. Like, do you think? First of all, do you think SEO is dead, or it's like still working? Number one. Number two, for every website, do you think every website should start with SEO, or how every website should be starting, and what would be the ideal go-to way?
So there's a two-pronged approach to this, I would say. So this is all in my opinion, right? So SEO is not dead. I've heard that so much. I've been in the industry since I was about 14-year-old or 14, 15-year-old, something like that. I've been in a very, very long time. I would say I got primarily involved in SEO.
What age you now?
33.
So you started at the age of 14?
Yes, yeah. So
amazing.
This was
like
like
a godfather.
This was me and Charles Floor. I don't know if you know Charles, but we go way, 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 way back, like very, very far back. He's actually the reason that I got introduced to James Dooley and things. So I was very much sat behind the keyboard, just doing the work. Didn't really want to go to masterminds or anything. And then I think it was about 11 or 12 years ago. It was a very long time ago. Charles got me to come to James's office and we sort of met each other there. And then that's kind of when I started doing group events and going to masterminds a little bit more. But in terms of if SEO is dead, like obviously you hear that. I think I've heard that at least twice a year, every year since that age. So SEO is always changing, and obviously it's an algorithm, so that is expected. It's always going to be changing, improving, getting worse. Like we've all seen it. Like what's going on at the moment in the SERPs, yes, it's a mess, but it happens. You know, at the end of the day, it's only engineers trying to make things better, I guess. And you know, sometimes they get it wrong, unfortunately. So do I think it's dead? No. Now, within local websites, SEO tends to be, because we do like an exact match domain strategy, SEO tends to be the forefront of the strategy that we go with, because we know we can rank very, very quickly with those types of domains. However, when it becomes, say, you're wanting to build like an affiliate site or something like that, we often go down, you know, social media, Twitter ads, Facebook ads, setting up like almost a branded approach. We might even try, depending on the niche, if you're capable of doing it, paid ads approach as well, to see if you can very quickly work out. The one thing, I'm very pro paid ads, and I have a lot of AdWords accounts where we run pretty decent numbers through. And the main reason for that is you can very quickly figure out what keywords work. So the main issue, and I find with SEOs, is they're all about ranking the website and the pages, but the problem is they're not thinking about the ROI of that. So they might spend 3 months ranking a page #1 for a certain keyword, but then the issue then is they rank #1, and guess what? They make no money. So they've just wasted 3 months. Yes, you know, they're #1, congratulations, but they've made no money from it. So paid ads is a very good tool to speed up that process. And what I do, and I capitalize on a lot, is I always create a new ad account with a new website, and you often get that. I think at the moment it might be £400 or dollars free credit if you spend £400 or $400. It might be more in the US. Obviously, I only see from the UK perspective, and it's £400. But that then gives you, you know, if you spend £400, you're going to get £800 worth of data, which is quite a bit of data in certain niches, especially if it's a little local website. You can probably quite quickly work out what keywords, with just that data, with that spend, what keywords have good potential of working. And you'll also see within the ad account for impressions. So obviously impressions is a huge thing when it comes to semantics in Search Console and getting rankings. So you can very quickly see what keywords are going to be the main impression gain keywords within the ad account. And that are also, because it's mad. So you go in Ahrefs, and like, for instance, one of the businesses I'm in, you'll go in Ahrefs and let's say it gets 40 searches a month average. Yet I go in AdWords and it's getting 12,000 impressions a month. Now, that's quite a huge disparity, right? And obviously, this one's like a seasonal business, so maybe it's because the season's so high at the moment. But it's one of those where, you know, the paid ads is going to just give you the data, and you're not relying on third-party tools. I'm very much try to negate as much. Obviously, third-party tools, I'm all for them. We use them in the agency and all of that. But if you can get access to Search Console, if you can actually get server logs, you know, if you can get that sort of raw data behind it, that is almost like the golden nugget in my eyes. What about yourself? Do you think SEO is dead?
I think SEO will never be dead unless or until there are search engines alive. Because if one search engine gone, for example, Google will be gone in future, there will be a bunch of other search engines. It's like more like a platform or algorithm based on SEO now. Not, I mean, you can say the process is changing. Basically, the discipline will be constant.
Yeah.
However, the approach and mindset, which is obviously shifted towards semantics, and people who were saying that, okay, you don't need to build a topical map or content network, you just build a couple of pages and just build a lot of things. You can rank. Yes, you can rank, but definitely you need to say the effort versus benefit. I mean, the effort or the cost versus benefit.
Yeah.
So topical authorities, I mean, worth it. I mean, so far I haven't, like, you can say, tested in that case, for example, after, because just like building maps and networks, so I believe that it will definitely will pay off. Basically, once the Google next update is coming, I'm waiting for a couple of my sites to outrank. Yeah, this is how I think, and it's quite worthy, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, uh, regarding, I mean, one important thing, I mean, just your last answer is circulating in my mind, and another thing I would love to basically, you can say, explain or interpret. It's like, if you were like have an old website, the search console data does help. You can see which specific queries or which specific context, verbs, behaviors, or an attributes are getting more impression in a certain amount of time, like for example last 16 months, for example. You can prioritize those and build an empire, or publish those context in a specific connected and semantics way, like we do in semantic SEO. I mean, that would make sense. I mean, but for a new site, if you're starting from scratch, then you can maybe test ads first, get the data first, and then prioritize and make some adjustment and priority. Like, okay, for this is what I think. Yeah, is that correct?
Yeah, so that's kind of how we do it at the moment. Obviously, you can still use tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, and obviously just keyword planner in general. So obviously, if you have an AdWords account, you can go into the keyword planner. It'll show you, you know, the trends and things. Google Trends is another fantastic tool for doing keyword research off. But yeah, like for a brand new website, you know, typically you build out your sort of topical map. It's going to be quite a thin or inaccurate topical map usually for the launch of the website, because until you actually start getting that data in, I almost feel like it's, you know, especially if you're not an expert in that niche. So like obviously a lot of SEOs are great at SEO, but you know, if you're doing it, let's say for the joinery niche or carpentry niche, you're not a carpenter, you're not a joiner, so you don't know the level of importance and things like this. So often, you know, you'll do the keyword research, and then once you get, you know, the website published, you can there, obviously you can chat with a joiner or carpenter as well, and that will help. But once you get the website published, the data will tell you, you know, order of priority on the content side, you know, how you should be, what should be in your macro and micro context, right? You know, where's the contextual borders, like all of this sort of stuff. It'll come once you've published the website. You can try and make it up, but it is just made up until you get that data. You'll probably, and that's where it becomes a, you know, you're probably constantly re-optimizing pages. You know, new keywords come in, you're adding them to sections on the page, or creating new pages and then linking them in that way. And that's where it becomes like a consistent flow of new stuff for the website. And you know, people should be progressively optimizing the website. They shouldn't just be SEO's done. It should be, you know, SEO is now finished stage one, onto stage two, which is actually continually revisiting, improving, trying to make it better for the customers or the visitors to the website.
Yeah, definitely that would make sense, and I would definitely agree with you on this. I have a very interesting question in mind, and I would definitely want you to explain it in a very detailed format as you could. So let's suppose, I mean, you've been like running 2,000 of websites, and you've been like sold many sites, if I'm not wrong, and you got that experience basically, and you know that this domain, this website, this industry, you crack the system, right? You know that this will work. Probably you have the more better chance to rank because you know already the experience you got. For a new website, for example, can you like tell me, do you know or based on experience, any strategy that definitely works, or for example, that works in the most of the cases to rank a website, or in simple words, to grow a business? What is the strategy step by step a website needs to follow in order to grow its, for example, search in the search channel and overall the revenue, for example?
Yeah, so let's say, for instance, an example here, aircon business I started 2 years ago. The strategy so far with that was very much, we made the website, we made sure it was all about lead generation and getting the leads in. So it's super important, that element. So obviously whenever it goes down to mobile or whatever, the lead forms are very, very prominent on the page. And that's like number one key. That is what we want the customer to do in terms of the source context. They want aircon, and you know, they are looking to get an air conditioning unit installed. So we need to capture that lead, and we need the information from that lead to be enough for the engineer to do a quote or to go out and visit. So that was like priority one, build the website like that. Priority two then was, we with most of our local sites, we always go like, with this one, it's a little bit different because it's only the northeast of England. So we went specifically for the towns around the northeast that are serviceable. And then we build content specific around those towns towards air conditioner engineers, whether or not there could even be different pricing structures, but we try to harmonize that across the board. And then we pretty much just launched the website and hit it straight away, like I said, with the paid ads. And it was a very interesting one, this specific niche, because very quickly we were bombarded by leads. And like Google was saying, you know, it's going to be a small amount of, maybe we might get 10 leads a month or something like that. You know, it's going to be a small amount. I think day one on the Google ads, it was something like 35 leads we had. And obviously we had not, but at this point, we had not built the systems to handle that volume of leads. So we had to very quickly, obviously, we had the engineer saying, turn them off. And I was saying, turn them up, we'll get more. Because obviously it's kind of like trial by fire. So obviously we then start refining the processes and getting better and better. But obviously off the back of that, the interesting part with that industry is it isn't, so like, I know Corey a lot of the time mentions you're aiming for 10,000 impressions, but actually in that industry, it seems like search impressions, you're going to struggle to get 10,000 search impressions a day, just because there isn't the search volume there, right? So with it being such a local website, we kind of just aim for doing the best we can, and it seems to have worked. I think, you know, from indexation, for the main money term in that like local town, I think from indexing we went number 4, so we landed 4th from indexation. So it's kind of like one of them, once you know what you're doing and you've set up everything correctly, your internal linking's good, you, like right now we're number 1. I think we've been number 1 for pretty much within a week or 2 after launching. So it's one of them. The one thing I would say with local businesses, and this is also vital, is, you know, make sure you've got that address on there, make sure you try and get citations, and then also at the same time get a GMB set up, because GMBs are, they're almost like their own search traffic in themselves, if that makes sense. You know, you can not rank page 1 but have a GMB listing which is in the top 3, and actually you'll still make income and money. So it's vital to diversify yourself in that sense as well, to get a GMB set up and, you know, make sure you tick the boxes to have that approved. That's kind of what I would do from a step back. And then once you've got the paid ads revenue coming in, hopefully you can make sure that it's, you know, it's got a decent return on investment and covering obviously paid ads. And then from that, start strategizing, right? Well, this keyword gets good search volume and conversions. Let's build out, make this a priority in the topical map. So, it might be build out this one page or build out a cluster of pages around it, and then just keep doing that.
Yeah, I see. So basically, according to you, there's not just one strategy that actually help you to grow a website. It's about combination or balancing everything together, like balancing page rank, balancing, for example, with other factors. So, like topical authority, for example. And what do you think? I mean, for a new website, does it matter to create a lot of pages around one topic in order to rank, or just couple of foundational or static pages around that business and just building backlinks on those pages? Which approach do you prefer? Or, for example, which approach worked for you?
So we tried both, and especially in local, both work. So I am a believer in, I think you should be publishing, you should probably be, or at least updating things on the website, especially when you first launch, frequently. Obviously in time you can probably slow down, especially if you're already ranking quite high. You probably will start slowing down because you'll start getting busy with the actual work. So I'm quite a big fan of, at least publishing once to twice a week. Once to twice a fortnight, and that can be sporadic. But then going back into the posts and updating them using the Search Console data as vital, or even utilizing the paid ads data as vital. And yeah, just kind of going from that strategy. In terms of, we tested, is it worth, the one main issue we found with, if you say did a national website across the UK, and let's say it's got, let's say you did all the cities or you did all the towns, and it's like 4,000, or it can go as high as 50,000 if you're doing cities, towns as well. But let's say you did about 4,000 pages, and then let's say you did a mass page website where it's kind of like a duplication of all of the content, but obviously just the locality is changing. Now we tested this tons of times. Now in some niches it works very, very well, but the main issue we have, and time again we have, is when you hit publish on that website and it's a brand new domain, it probably doesn't have many links going to it. You've probably done a bit of an internal linking strategy on it, which is fine, but because it's such a new domain and it doesn't have those impressions and clicks, it really struggles with indexation. And we've seen that time and time again, where especially in local, so you might get away with it on more like national terms or international terms, where there might be a good amount of search volume, and if you can get onto page one very, very quickly, you're going to instantly see increase in impressions, increase in clicks, which then obviously leads to more crawl budget and crawlers visiting the website, which then it all becomes a cyclical, right? Whereas with local, where it might be quite a low search volume industry or keywords, and you don't really get those level of impressions and clicks. Sometimes when you're publishing these big ass websites, they can really struggle out the box. So obviously with that strategy in mind, you would then be looking to do citations, maybe press releases. You could potentially grab a domain from, say, ODYS, if you can find like a local-ish domain, and 301 redirect that in, which will help, and try and give you a bit more crawl budget. That's kind of the strategies we've tried. Obviously local is just very, very different to affiliate. Yeah, that would be my priority would be publish 10, 15, 20 pages, however many it is, like main towns. If you go local, do main towns, and don't over publish. You can always add to, so add to it rather than publish all in one go, and then you'll find that in time it like slowly increases crawl budget, everything starts to go up nice and slowly.
So basically, you do not do proper content marketing stuff like that, or publishing a lot of informational pages on local websites. Just you do proper internal linking, or for example GMB or website structure, and having benefit of EMD as well. or getting benefit from GMB signals, citations. It just
Exactly.
works. You don't have to publish a lot of new sexy content on a local website. Is that
Obviously, we have tried that approach, and don't get me wrong, it can work. But obviously, when the website's so new, you don't want to enter into realms of topic dilution. And sometimes if you're, let's say it's such a small niche that you have, like carpentry, you're going to have to enter into topic dilution to get something that's a bit more sexy for content marketing purposes. Now, there's like almost like in my eyes, a fine line that you will pass if you start doing too much of this and not enough of this. And that's often where you'll find, they've diluted the topic a little bit too much, and it starts to affect the main ranking assets over here. So I would always just be careful on the, sexy content essentially, but it definitely helps. And if you plan it right, it can help, but obviously just be very wary of internal linking. Make sure that you're within the content itself, it's connecting or interlinking properly to the correct areas of the website as well. Just so it's, when the crawler comes, it can very quickly read and go, well, this is clearly about that. This is clearly about this. And it's very interconnected. Whereas I've seen a lot of content marketing agents over the years where they publish something that's great, that has zero internal linking. It might be very connected to the industry as a general picture. So it might be something on statistics within, let's say it's joinery. Let's stick with the joinery adverb. And it might be the average salary of joiners in the UK. And it's got statistics on, it's got, it's quite an interesting piece. They might have pitched it out on PR, like digital PR sort of network, and gained some links from it. But it's not necessarily connected source context wise to joiner Bob, who actually just wants to go and do joinery work, right? It's totally irrelevant to that piece. So you have to try and connect the two.
Yeah. So what I summarize from this conversation, like the answer you just gave, it's like basically helping machine to easily understand or grab or interpret and serve information through your source website to its users. It's not about like publishing a lot of pages, because every time it's like normally what as you say that or think that they publish a new page, they're getting topical coverage. But for Google, it's like each page on your website is diluting your page rank, and it's like costing machine.
It's costing. Yeah, exactly.
So it's not about publishing pages just for the sake of topical coverage, but in simple words, your whole website should be a direction in a very organized and well structured content network or format to help people understand and extract the information and connect that information with the user's behavior in that particular knowledge domain.
Exactly.
This is what we need to understand.
No, that's exactly that. So obviously, my approach is very much try and offer as much value as to the user with as least cost as possible to the search engine.
Correct.
That's it. That is the approach that you want to do. And guess what? I also like Google doesn't make money from organic SEO. It only makes money from AdWords. And I'm a very firm believer that if you're paying the beast, they give you a little nudge. They help you up a little bit. So if you're willing to pay them at the same time, and guess what? It gives you the user metrics. It lets you stress test a server. If you might have it on shared hosting and the shared hosting might be terrible at certain points of the day, guess what? You'll see that data. And you can very quickly work out how to make the website even better, quicker, faster, smaller, but with more information. So decreasing the size, but increasing the density. And that's kind of the approach everyone should be doing. In reality, let's face it, like I wouldn't like to be Google with the amount of servers and websites and general rubbish that's published. on the internet and having to host that rubbish. You can see why they're trying to build an algorithm that kind of gets rid of the rubbish, but obviously they're just struggling at the moment. So yeah, that's kind of, and obviously core is, I don't know, obviously you've probably heard about the latest leak, the patents leak, and it's interesting because you start reading through it and you're like, you know what, it's quite fascinating because a lot of what Corey has mentioned and said is obviously in there, but that makes sense when a lot of what Corey preaches is out of patents. So it's going to be in the algorithm if they've made a patent for it, so it's going to be in there. But obviously, it's still very early days on a lot of the knowledge that was potentially or could be divulged from that algorithm leak. Or I guess more just the terminology. I treat it more as it's a terminology leak and what is involved in there, but you have no idea what's weighted. That's the problem. So you can't really surmise what is working or not. All it's done is give us plenty more tests to run.
Yeah, just I remember a guy who just wrote, somewhere that probably it shouldn't, it didn't, if the leak the APS got leaked. We already know this from Core.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like explaining and teaching the stuff, like it's been every case studies, every YouTube video is towards the future of SEO, directed towards. What's your experience, by the way, so far with Core and his framework? Have you tested it, and do you believe, or basically, I just need another person honest opinion. Do you think it's still, working for every type of website, for example, like local or overall?
Yeah, so obviously Corey's framework's absolutely exceptional. I would say it works very, very, very well for your national stroke international sort of affiliate websites or e-commerce, bigger brands, bigger websites. Especially when you've got the authority element. So if they've already got a big brand, it's going to be a lot easier to implement a brand new topical map or a semantic network than it is a brand new website. And again, obviously, just touching on what we mentioned earlier, it's a lot harder to try and come up with the data on a brand new website when you don't have it. Reference local, I would say, we've implemented quite a lot of Corey's suggestions, especially around images and things like this, because obviously image search is a whole other ballgame. It's another avenue for search and impressions and clicks. Google Discover elements, we've implemented a lot of that. Basically, we went through his framework and worked out what is implementable for us with basically doing the same approach as what we've just discussed about Google. So it's not going to cost us a fortune to implement, and it's going to help us generate some money. That's kind of what the same approach that we've took with Corey's framework. There's elements of it where we think it's fantastic, but it's going to cost us a lot of money to implement. So we're not interested in that bit. We'll just go with this bit because it's cheap to do and we'll still see good results. And that's kind of the approach we've adopted with it. So, it's helped out on a lot of our general sort of content structures, content strategies when it comes to writing the content, all of that, the general structure of the page, the macro, micro context, the borderless contextual borders. It's helped us devise a plan of how we tackle all of that potentially within a page. It has helped us also reduce the amount of pages that we would notoriously publish, because we were at one point, this keyword, this page, this keyword, this page, whereas now it's very much, we might have 500 keywords on the one page, and it might be a longer form piece of content. And that's kind of how we've done it. And then obviously images, image optimization, titles, etc., and naming conventions of images, etc., and making sure they're on the right parts of the pages as well. So that's kind of what we took and implemented from the course. But obviously the course it's fantastic The hardest part is it's like a whole other language. If you're not used to patterns, it is tough. Like, there was many times where I'm sat here, in very good intentions to sit and go through the course. I get about 3 or 4 videos in and I'm like, right, that's enough. I need a rest. You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of that, just keep coming back and keep doing it. And then eventually, I think the more you talk to people as well, and we are very big on this within our UK community, the more you network, it's going to help improve your knowledge in general. And you might be saying something that's slightly wrong at the moment, but guess what? You network and you go, oh, maybe I'm a little bit wrong here, and you kind of have a bit of an open opinion about it, and be willing to change your opinion, because at the end of the day, it's a ever growing algorithm, and it will change, and it has changed over many, many years. So you should also change. You shouldn't be doing the same thing. And that's kind of, yeah. So we use some of the course, but we don't use a huge amount of it. It's helped us improve some of our SOPs. It's helped us improve some of the overall structure and like topical maps and creation of topical maps. But we probably don't go in as much detail as he does. And that's where we're at. What about yourself? What's your experience?
Exactly. I have to say something, by the way. I'll come to this part later, like where core framework work, and it basically change its shapes according to website type, and for example, the Danish domain, or for example, the even local or international brand if you're running for example. Before that, I mean, first of all, you said very correct. It's like complete new, let's say, a realm or language. We have to understand the language first, the terminologies. And it happened with me, like when I started learning, it's like I gone crazy. I left everything, by the way. And I just like sitting around, and I just like started this course. After 1 or 2 video, I got stuck, and I thought, okay, it's not like my cup of tea. First, I have to read bunch of stuff first, like linguistics, like NLP, some patterns as well, some information retrieval stuff. Even though I haven't read them all, but I need to, and I would need to get those basics first before actually getting the course. So it's like not a like normal or easy journey. And by the way, learning is another thing, but implementing is very, very tough. And it's like 90% things change when you start to implement. So, and like regarding you say, like for local SEO sites, I guess they could implement this framework. Like they don't need to create a whole 1,000 or 500 list of concepts. For example, if a website is like about, for example, roof installation, then they don't need to cover each and every attribute of roof, for example, or roof installation, for example. They can maybe choose the central entity with the combination of the location they're offering, like roof installation in X, the city or region or country even, for example. And they don't need to build the whole map. They can just publish a chunk first with the location attribute coming in the topics, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the methodology, the approach will remain same. However, the depth, you need to adjust that according to your preference or your budget or your objective. Because for some people, the objective is like getting more traffic, historical data, test out, okay, to beat the competition, to go for more competitive topics, for example. But for some sites like local, they don't need to. Obviously, they don't. Most of the site owners don't have the budget. If I explain them, okay, a client coming to me, I say, okay, this is the whole scenario. This is X. This is Y. They don't know. Okay, they say, what is the benefit? I say benefit. Okay, then they say, what is the cost? They say, okay, we don't need this. Exactly. So just like 50 pages or 100 pages, just that matters for that region, area, or specific. You can maybe make your service as your central entity as well. Like the service word coming in your central entity as well. Just map everything out, and it's about making Google understand your website, so you can maybe do less topics first and expand on later once you got more.
That tends to be the approach we do. Is it's a joiner might have many hats. So a joiner can do kitchen fitting, he can do probably conservatories, he can do roofing, he can do anything with wood. But we tend to go, right, well, where do you make money? Let's go for this one first. And we can worry about these ones later, because we want you to make money. And then if you're making money, guess what? We're going to have a very good relationship together, because he knows that we make money for him. And that's kind of the approach we adopt as well. So it's, yeah, like focus on the main service that makes them the most money and hopefully rank very, very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the methodology or the way of doing things will remain same. For example, if you're like uh, constructing a brief, even though if you're not have written or completed a whole topical map, still you can follow the same methodology to write a brief.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, Corey mentioned sometimes it takes him like 7-8 hours to write a brief. For me, it took actually more than that, you know.
Yeah,
And,
no, exactly.
yeah, and I've like by the way recorded some videos for my channel, 3 hours long semantic brief process from scratch, and but
Wow.
it's in native language. But I will try to maybe in English as well, record in English as well, and the finding methodology will also, I mean, can adopt Code's framework as well. Like I've trained my teams. I mean, the writing teams. I've like hired linguists, not writers, as Core do,
Yeah.
and okay, and then I've trained them. Okay, this is the overall picture we want to build. This is the main objective, and then from their language rules, they know already. We help them to understand the conversion methodologies, marketing concepts, and making building everything together. So this is what I think, and it's working so far for me at least.
Awesome. That's good. As long as it's working, that's the key.
Yeah, again, that's really important, and it's interesting by the way. And we'll share something once with the whole industry once something is ready to share. And but for you, actually, I just wanted to ask more question. Like it's like about uh, the business model, like we discussed, running like sites about local, some affiliate. I'm not sure. Do you still invest in affiliates?
Yeah, so we just bought into quite a big affiliate site recently. That was like $500,000 investment. So yeah, we still buy into affiliate. But again, we focus more on making sure that they have a good, solid brand around them, as opposed to just being a content website that ranks.
Mhm. So you're saying affiliate still works if you build a proper brand, search brand, right?
Yeah.
And you utilize other channels as well, not just search.
So social media is our key. So we'll try and buy a business that's doing very well numbers wise from, say, social media ads, and then we'll add in the SEO element.
Yeah. So basically, a brand that has not invested in SEO but has potential.
Yeah.
Brand. That's crazy. So for a new person, I mean, for example, if one person is going to start, which model he should invest? I mean, so far, giving keeping in mind in every other factors as well. What business model you can say that it still works or it's better than everyone in terms of the cost or investment and in terms of the output? For example, there are options like affiliate, drop shipping, SaaS, or local or e-com. Like which business you think that one should start or invest in?
For investing, it's just we very much go based off what we have experience in, and also if we like the person that we tend to invest in the people, not necessarily the business. So yes, the business has to be making all right money, but as long as the person's likable and putting in the work, there's a chance that we'll still invest. Again, it's a tricky one. So in terms of return on investment, e-com can work very, very nicely. The problem is if you're new to it all, you might not have any budget to buy stock. And then if you're having to drop ship, your margins are usually a little bit lower. So I would maybe go drop shipping first if you plan on going into the e-commerce route, because at least that way there isn't the cost of holding stock. And then in time work on, hopefully earning the money and, getting your own stock, which will help increase margins. If you're into local obviously is very minimal cost. We rank websites for pretty low amounts of money in terms of actual investment out. The harder part of local is you have to be able and willing to speak to people and build those relationships with the business owners. Now, SEOs notoriously are introverted and generally don't want to do that. So that's also, it's quite hard. Basically, you can do anything, but you have to work out what you're passionate about and, what's going to give you the most joy for the time you spend. It's not always about making money. Like there's many projects we work on where we probably don't make money in it and probably even spend money in it. And we shouldn't be working on those projects, but we enjoy the projects. So we just continue. And that's kind of the approach I would take is, you can probably invest in many things, but just make sure that you have joy and a bit of enjoyment about it. That's key.
Yeah, I see. That's amazing. And by the way, I would like you to give 3 ideas of websites, niches, like if someone's starting in like affiliate or drop shipping. Would you like to give any 3 niche ideas?
Drop shipping.
Lucrative.
Ice baths, they're really good. Ice chillers, very good. Big margin products, very trendy at the moment. Vitamins can be quite good, and in general, you can get pretty decent vitamins from various drop shipping networks that you can drop ship. I'm not too big on SaaS, so SaaS, any software that is going to help make things easier. I guess
It's like a big monster.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hard one to say what would work in that niche. But if I was doing dropshipping, that's probably the route I would go, just because again, it's a hobby as well. I enjoy looking after myself, so I take quite a few vitamins and minerals, and I do cold plunging. So ice baths are quite a cool little thing for us.
Amazing. That's good. So, just like it's like I think a good conversation. I wanted to summarize this conversation, but before that, I have a very very good question, by the way, regarding AI, and just wanted to ask, do you utilize AI in your workflow or systems to improve the outcomes, for example? If yes, then how do you effectively utilize AI in content systems or anywhere you could name? So that's it.
Yeah, so we use for any data entry stuff, and we need to summarize the data we're looking at. We use AI pretty much notoriously in that. With content elements, we use it for working out what connections they are with the content, potentially any triples, RDF triples that might be connected with the content and the various different attributes, and that will very quickly define a list, which helps us organize a content flow when it comes to the content map. Other than that, we use it in just a few different processes, but we're not using it, I would say, in all of our processes. We do a lot of content with AI, and we use, obviously I've invested in a tool, disclaimer, auto blogging. So we use auto blogging and work with we call him Vabath, but I know he's not called Vabath. I can never remember his actual name, but in the UK it spells Vabath, so we just go with that. So we work with him pretty much on a daily basis to improve that tool, and obviously we use the content that tool produces. But yeah, other than that, we don't. I'll probably use it more in the future, but we don't use it a huge amount in our systems because our systems are already pretty cool. So yeah, what about yourself?
I think still not like that much relying or using AI,
Yeah.
Like for example, for facts or declaration, like sometimes if in a content we need to give a definition, or for format improvement, or for sentence structure improvement, we basically have trained chat GPT, for example, the paid one, to refine or structure or improve it according to semantics, language, or other, for example, methodologies. Based on that rules, it refines us. But for doing adding original experience, first-hand experience, or something like that, uh, we definitely do everything from scratch and manually. But once everything is on the line written, we double check and refine that
Yeah.
whole document based on the AI, and have like bunch of checks. Like some checks are done manually, like conversion checks. Some checks like the rules, like for each format, like for definition format, for answering an FAQ, or for like writing a list item, or for mentioning a table in the content. We have like rule for everything, right?
Yeah.
So to double check that, especially we go for tool, right? Just to save our time, and it's working pretty cool. And I hope will maybe just for writing content like auto blogging AI, I'll maybe use tool like that. Do you think auto blogging or AI is like working according to Chorus framework, or it's like still improving?
It works pretty well, but we were directly involved with developing it to work on Core's framework, so it works pretty
Mhm.
well. Obviously, if you control the headlines, so you can actually tell it what headlines to put in, and then it will write the content based off your content brief, essentially. So that works really well. And yeah, I would definitely, if you haven't tried it, give it a go. It's cheap, so it's
Yeah, cheap. This is the main thing.
it's very, very cheap. So it's not like the other tools which, you know, cost a fortune. Obviously, it's more expensive than it would be to run ChatGPT, but at the end of the day, you're paying for the all of the prompts and everything, all of the knowledge put in behind the tool, right? So but it's still very, I think you can get articles for less than $1 or around about $1. So it's very, very cheap.
On a daily basis, how many articles you publish, by the way, on your all websites?
Wouldn't be able to say, I have no idea. A lot.
And how do you make sure the check on everything? You have a like systems in place,
Yes,
process
we use
driven systems, or
editors.
people driven?
Yeah, so we use editors who have like a process to follow, and they have to check each piece. Once they approve it, then it can be published.
So you have SMEs as well for fact checking. You have semantics check as well. You have other business point of view conversion checks as well. Or
So it just depends on the piece of the article that it is. Obviously, we have an actual human read the content, and they will very quickly say whether or not, you know, it's encouraged them to convert or buy something, or if it's missing certain elements, they'll put that onto the writer. Obviously, it's then checked through Grammarly for any grammar mistakes, or the main common thing that we find. Obviously, there's common footprints on phrases that are used within AI, which we try to remove. So we have a big list of common words that are to be taken out. And then also the main issue is it very often gets words, especially in English, where it will use US English and it should be UK English, or it will use UK English and it should be US English. So it's very much, yeah, making sure that that doesn't happen as well.
all right, all right. Okay, so where do you see SEO as a career and both as a discipline, or you can say as a marketing channel in the future or in the coming years? Where someone who's working in SEO or starting SEO needs to shift his focus on which specific discipline, or simply what type of advice? It could be anything related to just what do you think? Like any advice for a newbie who's
I
like
would
doing SEO?
definitely, I would definitely focus on prompts and utilizing AI, because although SEO is where it is today, you know, in 10 years' time, it could be very much Google is no longer an algorithm and is actually an AI system that's utilized. And you have to learn how to speak to the system. So, you know, maybe focus time on AI, working out how to use prompts, how to, you know, redefine your prompts and get answers that you need for the purposes of SEO, because even myself included now, you know, if I'm editing a HT access file or something, or restricting something, I very quickly just put it into ChatGPT rather than me having to come up to with the regular expression myself. I'm telling ChatGPT, write me a regular expression script that would work on this server, you know, Apache, whatever, within a HT access file, and it just spits it out. And then that's what I use. And then guess what? If that doesn't work, you say, nope, that didn't work, and it spits out another version of it. And this is kind of what you should be looking to do. You know, it's speeding up a lot of the processes. And it already has a very decent knowledge base, and obviously you can feed it more knowledge as well. So, you know, if you have your own SOPs and processes, create your own knowledge base and like language model and utilize that.
Yeah, amazing.
But no, it's been
right.
awesome.
Yeah, it's great, by the way. And maybe we can hop sometime again to discuss the specific depth of, for example, the system you've been like, maybe it could be around like incorporating AI into your system and improving the workflows by saving time or something like that. So I would say these conversations definitely help the community, and I think you're doing great already. So just the start of something new, and I hope it would go good. So I would like to thank you like to join this podcast and sharing your experience and thoughts. And by the way, and wish you success with your projects, businesses, and everything. And very happy to discuss the stuff together. And would you like to say something? And
no, it's just a pleasure for having us on, Mohammed. It's been absolutely great. Obviously, you're quite successful yourself with the whole core race thing, so I would say keep on cracking down on that side, and I'm sure within time, especially obviously within, depending on what niches you're in, but if you're doing it within your local area, then I'd imagine you'll be crushing it, because obviously the UK and English algorithm is a lot more difficult than other countries. Like I see many people in Poland and Ukraine, like loads of different areas, Germany and Netherlands, and they're ranking so quick, like really quick, because they're utilizing, say, this framework in a foreign language, and it absolutely takes off. So yeah, no, keep crushing it.
amazing. So by the way, coming to Semantic SEO meetup organized by Kore in September in Turkey.
I'll try and get there. The problem is, obviously, I'm getting married, so my honeymoon's start of September. So sorry, start of October. So depending on when it is, I might be able to, but we'll see.
So congratulations in advance, and good luck for your future.
Excellent. Cheers, Mohammed.